Okay, welcome back to my pro coaching tips. In this short video, I'm going to give a complete overview and explanation of the pros and cons of coaches wanting to come in and get more certification or get certified first, or should you just start a coaching business? Okay, so I have been traveling the world the last 15 years coaching coaches, hundreds and hundreds of coaches, nearly 1,000 now, I'd say. And I've seen coaches fly high, reach their dreams. I've seen coaches plummet before they can even get out of the starter's box. And so this plays a role in what I want to share with you today. So you're here because you're possibly looking to get out of the corporate sector or get out of the business you're running and start a lifestyle business, a business where you get to run it on your terms so much, work from a laptop, go on holidays, and then help people change their lives. You know, it's a very rewarding industry. Having said that, it's not an easy industry to get started in unless you know how to build a business and follow a structured framework and system. So over the course of the last 25 years, I've been coaching since 2009. I've done many certifications. I've done multiple certifications in life coaching, business coaching, hypnotherapy, quantum hypnotherapy, NLP master training practitioner. All these certificates are great. And has it really equated to what I run in my business? My first business was an employee engagement company that went across the world. And with Quality Mind here, how much of my certification has actually been implemented into what I'm doing now? And I would comfortably say about 15 to 20%. So the majority of my teachings that I offer in my programs and my businesses is tried and tested purely by getting out there and doing it and learning it and understanding it. Having said that, also being in an environment where you're always learning. So I worked in 12 different industries before I even started the coaching, or during my coaching time actually, and multiple sports teams, elite sports teams and so forth. So I just kept looking and searching and researching the fastest way to create change in a group environment and individually. And so this is why it's really pertinent for this conversation today, because there's a lot of information in certifications these days that you just don't need. I'm just going to be straight up with you. I mean, I went and cleaned out my storage unit last week. I had bundles and boxes of folders from all my certifications, and part of me didn't want to throw it out, but I thought, is there anything in here that I'm going to use going forward? And there really isn't. And so also, what happens in today's knowledge, we live in the age of information. And because of that, there's far more advanced information out there today than there was in the repeated information that gets sent through institutions and associations today and business schools and so forth, because we're living in a fast-tracked way of life. And you can just about chat GPT, Google, anything now that you need to know. So really important to understand, definitely certifications are great. If you want to become an expert in psychology, expert in whatever it may be, podiatry, all those sorts of things. And what that is building you usually is a one-on-one practice. So you are literally going to be coaching one person for 1 hour or 45 minutes and you get paid per the hour. That's terrific. And it's good for knowledge base too, and to build confidence as you get going. So we attract people, as I said before, from getting out of the rat race into their own lifestyle business, or they just want to get into this from the beginning because they want to give back to society and help and live a legacy job. So important to know that everything you want to learn has to be scalable and leverageable. That's quite simply it. For you, because you're going to ask yourself, what do you want to achieve in a short amount? What do you want to achieve by when? So if you want to get into your own coaching business, say by month 3, I need to be starting to make revenue, right? Then consider that a certification in mainstream thinking could be a bit of a slow burn. So the first port of call is when it comes to certification, it's a slow return on investment, right? Slow ROI. And so learning doesn't automatically create clients for you or income. So this is slow. The certification's slow. Because it could go 6, 12, 18 months, but you might get what you need, but then what happens, right? The second stage is know business, biz system. And so along the way, you need marketing, you need sales, you need lead generation, you need to know all the aspects of business. So when you leave your certification, what happens next? It might take you another couple of years to get going. So in an ideal world, get a model where you're doing all at once, but also done for you. Okay, so the parts of business building can actually be outsourced. But you still need to learn roughly what they're learning so you become more knowledgeable, because you're going to move into an entrepreneurial way of thinking, which means you love learning, you love making mistakes, you keep going. And it's an exciting journey. However, you're going to go through a learning process. So the third one is high. So when you leave your certification, everyone's going to be qualified. Probably 10, 15, 20 people in that course in that month, and then everyone gets the same level of education. Then what? Okay, so basically a lot of people that get out of certificates struggle to build a business and stand out, right? Because you've all got the same thing. So is it worth it? And is the information in that certificate, if you're going to use every part of it? All right, the fourth one is you really required like self-motivation, because it can be a bit of a lonely experience when you're studying more or less by yourself to learn to memorize things, right? Memory full. Where and I'll get into the other aspect of this in a minute. But is it better in an environment where you're changing because of it? So you're actually going through the change yourself, right? Which makes it more impressionable on your subconscious and embedded in your entire cellular structure. So just know that self-motivation, because it can be a bit of a lonely journey, going through book after book after book, doing module online and so forth, and then meeting your group at the end of the month or whatever. Okay, and lastly, the risk of over-learning. Collecting certificates without monetizing it. I see this a lot. Coaches will come in, they'll get all excited, but they go and get certified again in an area that they can't leverage. You can't scale it because it's a one-on-one practice. But it's good to know. But you're wasting quality time by getting that certificate, which is lovely. It's good for the wall, good for the office. But if you want to go out and make revenue, just something you need to consider, because there's a lot of downtime. I mean, we get bills every week. So you've got to create revenue every week. So I just wanted to bring it to your attention. Certificates are great if you want to specifically go into an area, but a lot of it's got to do with one-on-one. Okay, so always think, is this certificate going to allow me to go scalable and leverageable, and also live the lifestyle I want on my terms, getting the financial rewards? Okay, in the opposite here, we got really is fast return on investment. So you want to start generating income quickly with a proven business model, which is a framework, a business. And what I mean by a framework is you can literally come in and you've got an entire business model. So instead of just getting certified, actually you're going to be going, like the framework is sales and marketing, learning the system, actually going through the system, seeing it changes within yourself so you can actually go out there and discuss it. So, and it's a framework. So when you come from the corporate sector or the business sector into, okay, I want to start a coaching business, you bring all this awesome intellectual property and life's experiences with you, and that's got to be used on top of the framework. Okay, so you're bringing all these stories of hardship, stories of really going through hard times and then really successful times, and then teaching and mentoring that to other people is really going to underpin your coaching business. But then layer that on top of a foundation, which is already a strong framework. So you don't have to go out and rinse and repeat. Okay, so that's the thing. You don't have to go out and build these systems and try and figure out what the latest trends are in marketing and sales and so forth. Right, the fourth one is mentoring and community. The third one, is credibility and brand. So when you come out of the certificate, you still need to build a business. You still need to build a brand. So it takes years to get a brand to get traction and awareness, but it's still important to start, right? But if you can leverage off another brand that's got credibility, that's already got runs on the board, because out of a certification, you then need to come up with how the programs you're going to sell are going to be received. And you'll need to do a year or two of research and development usually, unless they provide you with the exact same system. But at the same time, the programs need to be unbelievably powerful, because the more powerful they are, the more clients you get for referrals and then testimonials and so forth. If you can get to the stage where you're guaranteeing your programs, you're winning. All right, so once you've done the certification, what are you going to do with it then? That's why you need to think about this. Or you do certification and building a business at the same time, great, but just know that your time needs to really go into building the business. So we've got credibility, then we've got mentorship and coaching, right? So And so really what we're saying there is you've got to have weekly touch points, and a clear roadmap to what's this week, what's next week, what's the week after, and someone who's been there, done it, then they actually can take you through it. And then it comes in, once information's in, then you get the marketing support person in, and then basically it all builds together. Okay, it all builds together, but you've got to have someone really there, I think, regularly, that is always with you so you don't lose momentum. And lastly, scalable. And really that's at its core. All your learnings and all your teachings need to go into a scalable, leverageable model and systemizable, so you can then do groups and do mass numbers. So instead of being paid $100 to $300, $500 per 1 hour, depends on what you quote and what you're selling, you can do that with 10 people on the 1 hour. So you make $3,000 to $5,000 on that one session. And really at its core, I see coaches burn out because they keep going down the track of one-on-one coaching. They get to year 5, 6, or 7. They want to sell their business. They didn't create the lifestyle they're after, and they couldn't guarantee change, and they didn't have the support. So if you're a person who wants to get into coaching and you want to sort of keep your business and your employment on the side, great idea. You got to pay the bills, right? But then you got to have a plan on how to get a return on investment in a matter of months. We've got case studies for coaches doing this now, and if it's a system, it's a proven system, right? So at its core, if you want speed, structure, and income momentum, then go for the business, okay? If you want more certifications, then go for certifications because they're lovely. But at the end of the day, who's paying the bills? Where's the revenue coming from? So just be mindful. And also, when you do walk into a really tried and tested and solid framework that always gets results, spend time on learning it backwards. Like, learn it 4 different ways, okay? Because the reason for the success they're getting is learn it, and become very good in one niche, right? One niche. And that's important, but there's so much other aspects to this, but really at its core, if you want a certification, great idea, go for it, but just know that the run-on effect is you need the capital, you need to get going, you need the brand, you need the framework, you need to support, all those sorts of things, and the technology and the IP. So if you're a coach or someone looking at getting a coach involved in coaching or mentoring like what we do, we help life coaches, business coaches, psychologists, sports coaches, leadership coaches, executive coaches, NLP, hypnotherapy, mental wellness, personal trainers, really at its core, because it's about understanding the brain. And if you want to change the brain, study neuroscience, study positive psychology, study NLP, hypnotherapy, the basics to cognitive behavioral therapy, all these sorts of things, and put it into one small mosaic package, and then you've got your answer. So there's a training below if you want to check that out. If you like this channel and like my information, subscribe for more, and I'll send you more as we come along. Either way, have a great day, because whatever you're doing, if you're doing it from your heart, if you're doing it because you really want to help people, and you're not doing it for greed, you're not doing it for ego, you're doing it because you actually generally want to help the world, you will be successful whatever way you go. At the end of the day, we've got to pay the bills, and depends on what your dreams are. We want to help you get there if you wanted to get there, because the world needs you more than ever. See ya.